Hi guys, today I wanted to talk about what one can do if you have a radiator leak in your truck. And this one of the trucks, it's a Cascadia, and it had a bad radiator leak, and I ended up replacing it myself. And this is what I learned from the experience. So this happened during where there was a lot of shortages in parts. So the radiator was leaking, and the OEM was out of stock. And aftermarkets, you can get out aftermarket at a different shop, but it's not guaranteed that all the holes match. And this happened. I knew like the radiator was leaking before I sent the truck out on the road. A reason being is that the load was already booked and I didn't want to cancel a load. I ended up using a K-seal. It did work for like for a month. You can say a month and a half. We ended up doing 6 trips on the truck. I know I was kind of pushing my luck there, but it did help out quite a bit. Reason why it wouldn't stop the leak permanently is because the radiator wasn't mounted right by the mechanic, and it was shaking from the bottom, so it would develop a leak somewhere else due to vibration issues. So that's why I didn't want to take it to a mechanic again, because this was only a year and a half old radiator, and I shouldn't be having to replace it after only a year and a half of service on the being replaced. The truck sat for like 6 months. I didn't have a driver, so it was only in service for a year before the radiator needed to be pulled out. So what I found was my problem was the one originally I put in, it had like a pin kind of design where you insert a pin from one side and there's a locking washer on the other, but there was too much gap in between, and the mechanic who installed it didn't put a washer to make the space in between the frame and the radiator less, so make it tighter. And they didn't do that. They just put the radiator in and put the the pin in, and it worked for a year, but it just created too much headache for me because the job wasn't done right. So if you are in the market of buying a radiator, get the one with the nut where you can tighten it up all the way in, so you don't have to worry about the excessive space in between the radiator and the frame. So that's what I would tell myself if I was going back in time and buying a radiator. I'll just get a one with a nut that you can screw on. OEM wasn't in stock, so it wasn't an option for me, but the OEM cost around $1,600-1,700. I went to an aftermarket shop, and that one literally cost me $750. Your price might be different for a DD15. Reason being is this one is a 2014 Cascadia that we're talking about. It's a 2013. Not the Evolution, it's just the regular DD15 Cascadia. So how do you prepare for taking the radiator? First, you gotta drain the coolant. On the bottom on the truck, if you look at it, these you might have these attachments here where you have hoses coming in. That's your intercooler for your transmission. So that's where your transmission lines are connected to the radiator. And on here, you have a drain valve. You basically unscrew it and the coolant will start coming out. What I ended up doing is I bought a drain pan. I think this is 5 gallons from Walmart for $10. And I bought a coolant pump, because I didn't want it to lift things, dumping it back into the container. So I bought that one for like $19. A trick with this one is, and it comes with a tiny pipe for the intake, for the input, and for the output it has a big pipe. I would use the same big pipe on the both side. That way you get quite a lot of flow of coolant. Otherwise you'll be there for a day if you use the small pipe to as an output, as an input pipe. Or you can just go to the store and buy a bigger same pipe on the that goes on the outside outer flow one. You'll get it what I'm talking about if you end up using this pump. Basically just use the big tubing on both sides. And I just put the one hose right here to suck the coolant in, and I had 3 big jugs of 5 gallons that push the coolant into the jug. A lot easier, lot less labor work, and everything happens quickly, efficiently. So what I end up doing is I pull the screen out of the bug screen. Then I open the hood, basically got inside, and I took the intercooler off. There's 4 bolts here. And the way you take the intercooler is very delicately. And on the side, this is the left side, on the right side, you have to unscrew other nuts so you don't lose Freon. I basically pulled it, took the intercooler out and put it on top of the engine without bending the hoses and without damaging the hose, because I did not want to have a Freon leak. Otherwise I would have to call someone else to recharge the system, or yeah, I just didn't want to go into that kind of trouble. And it worked very good. You just got to be gentle about moving the what is it called? The condenser, AC condenser. And you have 4 bolts to remove the intercooler. You unclamp the hoses. You take these 2 nuts out, and there's 2 nuts on the other side, and the intercooler comes off right out. And basically you're pulling the intercooler will come out of this opening. And last part is the radiator. So you take the top nuts off on the both side. So if let's say you got an older model Cascadia, there's going to be 3 nuts on the bottom, that side, and 3 nuts on the other side. That's what holds your the radiator in place in like a 2011, 10, 12, and some of the 13 model Cascadias. Or you have this system where you have 2 nuts on the bottom and you have rubber mounts. You can say yeah, rubber mounts. And if you have that kind of model, I would just go to a dealership and get those 2 rubber mounts, new ones, so everything's new when you're replacing the radiator. And also with the radiator, you might need another person's help to pull it out. Everything, I didn't take the hood off, I just pulled everything out through the hood opening. And it does come out. You just got to be gentle, and you got to be physically fit to do this, because And you gotta be patient because as I did my first time, I was kind of frustrated because it does take a toll on your body. What really helps is if you have an impact driver or wrench to take the bolts off. And also bring 2 pairs of battery because I only brought one ran out, and it's just pain because everything slowed down once my impact driver or wrench battery died. So then I had to do everything by hand, and I didn't, and also bring a lot of water, and if bring food too, if it doesn't hurt, because you're gonna be there quite a long time. Since the let me talk about on top of that, you have a coolant tank. You have to remove that and also remove the hoses. So after you've done that, this is just the summary point how long it's going to take you. It's more like 6 to 7 hours of job, because it could be you might run into trouble where you couldn't take things out, the nuts could be rusted out. And what really helped us take the bumper out too. That really frees up the space. If you're a really strong person, then you can do it on your own, but you might need some extra help time to time. So 2 people job, I would rate it as a 2-person job. And since it's a coolant system, coolant that you're dealing with, coolant is toxic to human beings and animals and fish. So what you want to do is you can Google waste drop-off facility nearby, and usually every city has those. Some cities have like multiple. And that's what I end up taking the coolant. They take up to 15 gallons of waste at a time. So, and it's really good that they take the jugs and they empty it for you and they give it back to you. And you really help out the environment by not creating toxic waste, and not dumping toxic waste into the sewer or spilling it on the floor. So I hope this helps you guys, and if you guys like this content, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the ring button. And if you need if you have any suggestions, please leave it in the comment box, and I'll review those, and I'll make changes to my videos. Thank you. You guys have a good day. Bye bye.